Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Friday, November 8th, 2016. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Ora News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. Recent rainfalls and flooding have caused 3 deaths in Babro area, near Tirana in Mat and Kotsur. Hundreds of families have been evacuated and thousands of hectares of land are underwater. The military, police, officers and firefighters have been dispatched to help the citizens. Prime Minister Rama has gathered the operational service in an effort to coordinate and better manage the institution sections for the situation. The head of the Civil Emergency Service, Shamsi Prenchi, provided some details for the situation. He declared that the situation is in need in Kruje and Shkoder, where their riverbeds have overrun and citizens near risky areas have been evacuated. According to Mr. Prenchi, the situation is not good in Mat or Paskutyan either, and that the situation in Tirana areas, highlighting water on the Tirana-Durres highway at Kashar overpass, is also problematic. The Prime Minister declared that weather is expected to worsen over the next 24 hours, saying all the organizations and ministries are engaged to handle the situation in the best possible way. This is an unusual situation. Our military officers have intervened in some areas. The weather will continue to be problematic in the coming 24 hours. Operational services will gather again this evening, declared the Prime Minister. And the Minister of Energy declared that the Fierza hydropower flows are about to reach their critical point. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party chairman, Luzin Basha, expressed his concern and asked the Prime Minister to go out to monitor the situation. The Democratic Party and I are closely following the flood situation. I have contacted Democratic Party representatives and the situation continues to be problematic. The Prime Minister needs to interrupt his TV shows and monitor the situation in the field. The government has not taken any measures so far, declared the DP chairman. The administrator of the energy distribution operator, Ardian Celia, announced there have been power cuts in several areas due to security reasons, adding that 1,500 employees are in the field to remedy the situation. Intense rainfalls also cause problems in Tirana, flooding some houses and blocking different road access. Tirana River overflew, risking a family of Rama community and flooding 25 houses. The residents ask for government's help as unstable weather is a threat to their life. City Hall's employees, firefighters, military officers and civil emergency staff engaged to have the situation under control. Tirana prefect gathered the emergency staff and asked that the main roads to be passable. The mayor inspected work for Shkoder Bridge, where work was made for enlargement of its escarpments in both sides. Tirana City Hall engaged 1,800 employees and the firefighters have also helped the citizens' evacuations. The mayor called on citizens not to build their houses near rivers because it's risky and not to throw waste in the river because they block the channels. The situation was problematic also in Tirana-Durres highway. Some national road segments were blocked since the first morning hours and vehicles were blocked for several hours in the highway and the secondary roads. Heavy rainfall started early Tuesday and have flooded a number of cities and villages in Albania, forcing many people to leave their homes. According to the Albanian civil emergency authorities, the situation is worrying those in the capital city of Tirana and in other cities, including Lezhe, Kruje, Durres, Shkoder, Fier and Vlora, where hundreds of houses and hectares of land are underwater. There are also reports of landslides and roads being blocked. The city of Shkoder is facing a difficult situation with roads being submerged and embankments damaged. There is water in suburb areas and agricultural lands of Berdic. There are also power outages due to electrical line issues. In Durres, 30 houses risk being flooded, with the situation growing more alarming in the areas near the beach, at the train station and near the stadium. Also, main roads in Durres are facing flooding as well. In Kruje, Lezhe river has overrun its banks, flooding the nearby agricultural lands and nearby housing. Lezhe is also seeing city roads and agricultural lands submerged underwater. However, only strong winds were noted in Vlora and Fier. Heavy rainfall has forced authorities to open the gates of 3 hydropower plants, even though water in the river cascade is about to reach its critical point. Albanian Power Corporation announced the gate openings at the Vavideias, Koman and Shkoder hydropower plants. Vavideias hydropower plant discharged 1,500 cubic meters of water per second. The prefect of Shkoder asked authorities to remember the citizens' interest and not only energy interest. Ullës and Shkoder hydropower plants are discharging 1,000 cubic meters of water per second, and the water level in Hydropower Fierza has reached its critical point at 289 meters. Multiple flows have forced the Albanian Power Corporation to launch procedures for exporting energy, while it is cooperating with its partners to minimize discharges without energy production. But Discharges from Shkoder and Lezhe HPPs have caused a grave situation by increasing the Mat River's water level, posing a serious flood risk to the Shkoder area. The Institute of Geosciences says that intense rainfalls will continue for the coming week, and Institute experts are cautioning citizens to be careful. The Institute of Geosciences forecasters says that intense weather was predicted last week, concurring with the European Agency for Storms prediction, SOFX, which lists Albania among the high-risk countries for upcoming intense rainfalls and strong winds, including the possibility of tornadoes. The Parliamentary Committee of Stabilization and Association of European Union, Albania, adopted the resolution which calls on the European Commission and the European Council to open negotiations with Albania and to provide for a more sustainable progress regarding the implementation of its 5 priorities. The news was made public via the Socialist MP Taulan Bala, who declared that the opposition MPs did not vote on the resolution. The Democrat MPs voted against the recommendation to open the negotiations. The opposition cannot destroy the good news that Albania expects tomorrow, which is a positive recommendation to open negotiations for European Union membership, declared the Socialist MP, adding that Democratic MP Majlinda Bregu was the only opposition's MP who voted in favor of resolution. Meanwhile, the Democrat MP Aldo Bumci had this to say: "The majority voted against our proposal for elections, against our proposal for the fight against drugs. We voted on the paragraph that supports integration. Negotiations will be opened when conditions are met. Albania's integration depends on implementation of reforms." The Democrat MP Majlinda Bregu explained her vote in favor of the resolution. "In my opinion, I have protected the Democratic Party and the dream of all Albanians to see Albania in Europe. Even if I or the DP chairman wants to block the integration, history does not allow us. I have never blocked integration, and I will never do that," declared the DP MP in a reaction on her Facebook account. Tomorrow, the European Commission will publicize the progress report for Albania, upon which the European Council will make its decision to open negotiations for Albania's integration into the EU or not. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzim Basha held a meeting with some environmentalists in regards to the waste law. They discussed the integrated waste management law, reiterating the opposition's determined position against the law. After the meeting, the DP chairman responded to accusations that the Democratic Party is lobbying against the opening of negotiations, calling the accusations an effort by the majority to remove attention from the country's emergency situation. The chairman added that the DP is asking only to fulfill the European Union's criteria by implementing the decriminalization law and realizing the electoral reform. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Zeno, and on behalf of Ora News, thank you and good night.